Me again with my inventions. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to make a grounding mat. So I have this same material which I used to build the case for my laptop, which for those of you who didn't see that video, this is like some sort of stuff isolation which goes under the flooring. So what I did, I measured like 70 centimeters wide, if you can see the marks, and 1.8 meters long, which is about my size. So I marked that, I'm going to cut it, and then I'm going to add some of this conductive tape, which is aluminum, and after I'm doing this, I'll explain what to do next. I'm using the cheapest knife I found on my DIY store, so make sure you're not scratching your floor. So what I did, I put this piece of floor underneath, so I'm going to cut it where the mark is. You can use a piece of wood like this, or you can simply use a piece of wood like this. Basically anything would do. Just make sure you don't damage your floor or whatever you put it on to cut. That's pretty much job done, I guess. So I did put 3 strips along the way, and then I just connected them. This is basically like a mattress which you can carry with you. I made it because I'm not stuck in one place, I'm always on the move, so if I'm moving someplace else, I can take it with me. Basically, instead of this thing, the plastic blue thing, you can use anything, even a bed sheet. You don't have to spend money to do things the way I did it. You can basically do the same setup on a single or double bed sheet, but I guess the way I did it, it's a bit more practical. So you can, if you change your bed sheet, you can just keep this. You don't have to, you don't have to take these strips off and then put them again. So like this, you have it like, what I did, because this thing here needs to be connected to a grounding, I did put, as you can see, this end, I came with a tape all the way over from this side again, because what I'm planning to do, get like a jump starter cable, if you know what it is. I'll show you now. I got my kit. So this is what I'm talking about. I will be connecting a cable, not to this one in particular, because I'm going to keep this one. This is like a set, but something like that I'm going to do. You can do the same. So I'm going to have one of these. I'm going to buy one, and then I'm going to have it connected like this. Ta-da. And the cable here will go either in the socket. Any socket must have grounding, or what you can do, the cable which you will connect to the socket, you can also connect it to the ground. So the cable coming out from here, you can have it connected to a long nail, or a piece of copper would be probably the best. But if you don't have a copper, even regular steel should do the job. But if you have like a big copper, I don't know, like let's say 5, 7, 10-inch copper, connect it to the other end, stick it into the ground, and there you have the grounding mat. What is this useful for? Well, it's a very long story. I'm going to try to explain it into one sentence. This is discharging the electricity from your body, and it's connecting your body to the human resonance of the ground, which is bringing you in alignment with the universe, and it helps with hormones in everything in your body. So basically you will need this even if you are a victim of directed energy weapons or not. This is good for your general health. What I'm suggesting for the targeted individuals and everybody who is a victim of directed energy weapons, microwave weapons, radio frequency weapons, and all that kind of stuff, you could use one of these inside a Faraday cage. I got some materials here. I'm going to build a small Faraday cage, like a maquette or whatever it's called, maquette. Like a prototype, but in like a very small size, not the size of a bed, because I can't take it with me. I have all the materials. I'm going to build one, or at least explain you how to build one. And what I'm suggesting is use this mat inside the Faraday cage. One thing I want to point out, and this one is very important, probably I will repeat it again, because this is conductive, and because this can be basically, if someone finds the other end of this and connects it to electricity, in theory you could get electrocuted. So what I'm suggesting is, you can, if you live in a block like an apartment, you could connect it to the socket, but what I'm suggesting is, if you do, don't keep it too long, or if you do, don't keep it at night, because during the night you are the most vulnerable, and also you don't know what's going on, and if in that grounding, for some reason, if it's a storm or whatever, and a huge amount of electricity gets discharged and going through that, you will get electrocuted. So this is very important, and you should bear this in mind and take a note of it. So if you use it, I would suggest to use it outside, but if you're outside you could basically just take your shoes off, so you don't need this. But if you live, let's say, in the house where you have a garden, or you have just outside your window, you can just take that end, the cable, and just plug it into the ground, then you should be fine. But you should also keep an eye on the, trespassers, because somebody can electrocute you. Using this in an apartment, in a block, it's very risky. It comes with a lot of risks. If you live in a house where you have a yard or a front yard or anything, you can just plug it in, you'll be like almost worry free. You still have to worry about the trespassers, people trying to kill you, but if you live in an apartment, I would say use it like, I don't know, for a short period of time. Maybe don't use it when it's raining and there are storms, because every block has on top of it like a big piece of steel to attract the thunders and the lightnings and all that stuff, and it goes to the grounding. So if that happens, you will get barbecued. So that's why I keep saying this and explaining it in different ways, so you guys keep it in back of your mind and I'm doing it to help, not to harm anyone, so keep this in mind and do it at your own risk. I don't want to be liable for anyone's, actions. This is just an idea. You are responsible for your own health and for your own actions. I don't want to be sued, and this is as a disclaimer. Other than that, it's very good for your health, even if, as I said, you are or you are not a victim of radio frequency or other directed energy weapons. I'm going to try to explain it. So, let's imagine that this is the bed. So, that's the bed. Now, you want to build a Faraday cage around it. What you have to do, and you can first build something like a box, right? From different materials, which I'll explain. The next thing you can do, you can use pieces of wood around it, build a frame, and then on the frame, you can either use double tape, staplers, or whatever to glue the materials around them. Okay. One important aspect. For the Faraday cage to work, it has to be a cage. A cage means it's surrounded on all sides. You can't just build a Faraday cage like around the bed with open top. What you can do, you can build a separate top. You can build it like a door, or you can actually even do it like this. I've seen someone do it as a box, and they have some sort of a pulley, and when they woke up in the morning, they just use the pulley and lift up the Faraday cage, and then they just walked out from the bed. What I'm suggesting is have a look online. There are like hundreds of videos how to build a Faraday cage, and get inspired from there. I'm going to explain the basics. There are different types of materials, which you can see here. I'll explain. This is copper. You should use copper tape when trying to put this together and seal it so it won't have any gaps. This is RFID protective or RFID shielding materials. It has its own tapes. So what I'm suggesting is use appropriate materials to have the best results. Here you have a mesh, like aluminum mesh. It's used to keep the bugs out for the windows and doors. Here, the famous tin foil. You can laugh at it or not, but this also helps. So basically, these different directed energy weapons are like, imagine different size of bugs, right? So if you have a small mesh like this, there might be bugs which are even smaller than this, and they can go through this. But then they will hit this and they won't be able to go through this. So let's say microwave is one size. Radio, it's a different size. And I don't know, extremely low frequencies are a different size. So once you combine all these materials, nothing is guaranteed that you'll have like 100% protection, but it will reduce a lot. So you can do, as I said, for each material, use its own specific tape. You have aluminum, you have this aluminum conductive tape. You can use this for this and for this. So basically you can do, as I said, either a box like this, two boxes which go on each other. You can do a box like this and then another lid on top. You can use your imagination for this. Another disclaimer. Because you are using different layers of materials, right? And to have it even, I don't know, increase the thickness, so it's working as a thick wall. Like if you have a thick wall, you have to break it with a sledgehammer. If you have a thin wall, you can use it with a small hammer. You can break it with a small hammer. So exactly the same thing. But with this, it might come something not many people have thought about. But if you put multiple layers of this, all these materials, you may have a very well enclosed cage and very effective one, but you might decrease the level of oxygen. What I'm suggesting is, I'm not saying don't double, triple, or put even more layers of each material. What I'm suggesting is, you can go on eBay, Amazon, or your local, I don't know, e-shop, like electronic shops, and buy, there is something called oxygen monitoring device or something like that. So it's like decibel monitoring, like Audible, to see how loud the sound is. You can use the same thing, but it's called oxygen monitoring device. You monitor the oxygen levels. Basically, once you build it, you go inside, because you'll have to stay inside and breathe inside it, and then use that device with you. Take that device with you and measure the oxygen levels. Use it for a few hours, see how it goes, see if the oxygen levels drop or not, and see if you are safe inside or not. What you could do, you could add a small fan, either make a hole, but then you won't be very well protected. You'll have to work around that one. You'll have either make a hole and put it in, or use a bigger fan and have some air blowing in from the side or from the sides. So that way the oxygen and the carbon dioxide inside the cage will circulate and you won't, die. But you can monitor it, see if it drops. If it drops, you can use a fan. If it doesn't drop, then you should be safe. If you feel like you are getting a bit dizzy or uncomfortable, you just get out from the cage and remove a layer or two. Or start with a layer or 2 layers, and then add an extra layer and an extra layer while you're measuring. I can't build it because I won't be at home. I will be leaving home soon. So I would do it myself, but I can't. So I'll have to explain it to you and you'll have to do it yourself. But this is the principle. If you have the materials, 1, 2, 3, 4, you basically have everything you need. You watch a lot of videos how to build a Faraday cage. Just type it in Google or YouTube or any other platforms like that, and you'll see hundreds of thousands of people doing it, and you'll see pictures, you'll see videos, everything you need. Also, one more thing. Once you have the Faraday cage built, you can put what I explained you before, this, the grounding mat inside on top of your bed. You ground this like I explained here with a clip. If you don't have a clip, you can just put one tape on top, one on the bottom, and then inside between them you can just add a copper, I don't know, cable or whatever you have available. You ground this, and then you ground the Faraday cage. You ground them separately. You don't connect them to the same cable. You can connect them to the same source, like the same wire in the ground. Just don't make the connection between them. This way you will have Faraday cage extra with an extra layer of protection. So other than that, I don't know what else can I add to this. If something else comes into my mind, I'll add it to this video. Good luck and let me know how it goes. Comment in this video. I just wanted to say this. I have a video on how to build a Faraday cage bag. I will add the link in the description of this video, in which I explain the materials you need and everything, how to use double tape to put these two together, and it goes into a little bit more detail than here. Here it's a bit more theory, but you have the idea. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Like, share and subscribe to keep in touch. Video made by GangStalking Attention Awareness.